We are looking at question 39, which is a transition words question. Now you're going to see 3 to 5 of these on your exam. And what these questions ask you to do is evaluate a transition word used in the passage and see if it's right for its context. Now, I don't even want to look at our choices yet. I kind of want to dive straight into the passage and start making a prediction. Because by looking at what comes before and after the transition word, we're going to figure out what the function of a transition could be there. And we can come up with some broad categories and then see what matches. So I'm going to be looking for 2 or 3 different types of transition. You got your and transitions, your but transitions, and your or transition, something entirely different. So and transitions are transitions of similarity or cause and effect, but transitions are contrasting kinds, and or is something else, a third category. So let's take a look at this part of the passage. This is taken from a passage about job sharing. Levine and Rocco are 2 engineering managers that share the same role at a car company. Effective communication is crucial to the success of a job-sharing arrangement. In determining how working time and responsibilities would be divided, steps were taken by Levine and Rocco to ensure that the arrangement provided fluidity and consistency for the employees whom they managed. It's our job to be seamless, they noted. I'm going to actually skip the transition word. Here's the blank where the transition word goes. They each plan to work 3 days a week, with a day of overlap on Wednesdays. They also plan to talk on the phone each evening to discuss the day's work. So what's the relationship between the sentence that describes that Rocco and Levine took steps to ensure that their arrangement was fluid, and then the description of those steps, working 3 days a week apiece, a day of overlap on Wednesdays, and then talking on the phone after work? Is that an and relationship of continuity, a but relationship of contrast, or a third thing that's completely different? I would argue that it is an and relationship, right? They took steps to ensure that the arrangement was fluid, and here are those steps. It's not, however, they didn't do these things. It's, and they did this. In order to accomplish these goals, they did this. So let's take a look at our choices. So, no change, which currently reads nevertheless, which is a kind of but transition, because it's saying, despite the previous information, this contrasting thing happened. So I'm going to cross that off. Choice B is to this end. And I think that's kind of our and transition, because what's the end? The end is to ensure that the arrangement provided fluidity and consistency for their employees. How did they do it? They had these various things that they did, working 3 days a week, overlapping on Wednesday, talking on the phone. I'm going to say this is our answer, but let's go through and knock out the other questions for the sake of this video. C is however. However is very similar to nevertheless, and another useful tip is that if you see copycats, chances are you won't be asked to make these very fine distinctions between transition words. So if you see a copycat, cross out the copycat. Okay, and choice D is similarly. Now, similarly does fall into the and category of transitions for me. But I think that we're looking at a more straightforward cause and effect relationship than just a these 2 things are similar relationship. So I feel confident in crossing them out. So think back to conjunction junction, right? The Schoolhouse Rock video, and but and or will get you pretty far. If you divide up transitions into those broad categories, then when you look at the passage, you can identify the need, and then from there, you can make a prediction and then test that prediction against the choices.